back up in this bitch. Yo, man, it's wild. It's wild to think about how fragile the human body is, but also how intricate it is. Because if we're all just literally molecules and isotopes and just small cells combined into making this physical mass, that's the bullshit that makes you think. You get a splinter in your finger, Trent, that's it. You out here tripping at the little wooden splinter. Like that's that. You'd rather bang your toe off a table than get a little splinter, in my opinion. Because at least the pain in the toe will go away a little bit.
That's how Jack Daniels died.
Oh, damn. How do you
die? The guy who made Jack Daniels, the whiskey, he kicked his safe out of frustration because he was drunk and he couldn't remember the combination to it. So he kicked the fucking safe out of frustration, broke his toe, became infected, and he died from it, from like the gangrene and all that in it. See, and he literally could have saved himself if he had dunked his toe in his own whiskey.
No, that's terrible. See, that'd be the worst way to go, man. Especially in the sense that they didn't have like cell phones and stuff like that. It was probably like rotary phones and shit, like back in, or even if they had phones, like that's the scary part about it. Because you think about it, you're laying on the ground, you're drunk because you're drinking your whiskey while your foot's broken. You can't, I mean, technically you could
die right away. It developed over time, but he didn't go.
It was like right away.
No. It developed over time because he didn't go get it fucking looked at or fixed or anything like that. And medicine back in the 1800s too, right?
Word, I was gonna say, like, see, but that's that book. I mean, not.
But you know what's even more fucked up about all that is definitely in different parts of the world. Like they developed like medicine earlier and faster. Like there's a book I have that I studied in university. It was for a Crusade history class. It's Contemplations about Islam and the Crusades by this Islamic knight and like scholar, poet, whatever. He lived to be like 90 in like the 1100s. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, bro. He had them fruits and berries diet. That's what he was on.
Wild fucking DNA. I don't know what to tell you there. But anyways, this guy, he wrote this book and it's basically like about like the Crusades from the Arab perspective. And the one thing he talked about was comparing how the Franks, like the English and like the Crusaders and the Arabs did their doctoring. Like the Arabs were like masters at like setting bones and they could like stitch people up. They had intricate knowledge of nerve endings and all this stuff and like washing utensils and all this. It was crazy. Like they knew a lot of different things that were at that time, like unbelievable, like stuff like we know today, like the anatomy structure and shit like that.
Yeah, but bro, that's
like the Frank doctor cut off a fucking leg if it was like fucked up enough, you know what I mean?
They knew to do that back then and probably like brand it so that the skin burns and then put all types of ointments to heal. Bro, see, that's the type of thing though. What you wouldn't know in or what unfortunately what sometimes you're not really taught in history is like, yeah, bro, there were cultures, extremely sophisticated cultures back then that motherfuckers act like today, oh, they were just savages and this, that, and the third. And it's like, no. If they know about anatomy, biology, different types of soaps and proper ways to clean utensils and shit. Shit is numbers. But that's math, probably how you can tell time, all types of dumb shit. Like, well, not dumb, all types of smart shit like that. Like, that's history though, man. But it's dope that there are certain hidden, whether it's hidden scripts or hidden scrolls or whatever that do convey some of that information. You know what I mean?
Well, a lot of it is Western centric, like point of view. Like the West is the best, and the East is all fucking like mysterious and fucking foreign. Blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of that bullshit, especially like in this part of the world and in Europe as well too. Academia is extraordinarily white and racist, as I'm sure you're aware.
Unfortunately.
What was I gonna say? But like it's crazy. Like there's one book I was reading, it was all about like the native history in this part of the world. They had like before anything, they had trade routes that went from like where I'm living up here in North America, like we're up here, up in on northern Ontario, trade routes from all there all the way down to fucking Peru. Like it's insane. Like for people who are supposed to be just, you know, like savages living out in the fucking woods, you know, surviving off of like whatever they found, they had trade routes going from like literal thousands of kilometers across this continent. It's absolutely bonkers to think about that. And like they had sophisticated irrigation systems that were destroyed by the conquistadors and like the people coming over here, like the Europeans coming over here and whatnot too. So it's just crazy, like stuff that is purposely hidden or not like discussed enough. But I would move towards the latter, not like purposely hidden, especially because it doesn't fit like the capitalist agenda of like worker, not a thinker, blah blah blah, blah all that stuff.
But Trent, there's a lot of throughout history, like there are a lot of people who were extremely they were genuinely intelligent, and it's like they were exploited a lot of times. Unfortunately, like they were exploited, and other people like took the credit and took the different, like whether they had more power at the time, so they took their inventions or whatever the case is. And like it just makes you think how like this kind of sacred knowledge or whatever, like how many things were lost in those times that, as wild as it might seem, could have helped civilizations today. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that kind of, because one could be like, oh, you can't cry over spilt milk or whatever, but it's like, nah, bro, it's not really. You got to think, like, these are some of these people who invented, like the guy who invented like the monocle or the binoculars or something like that, like that's later it came to help whether it's different militaries see enemies from much farther away or whatever the case, like just all that type of stuff. In my opinion, the fact that only like I believe only a fraction made it through the motherfucking filter as far as what was actually brought forward from past history, like shit boggles my mind,
It's crazy, man. Like honestly, like we know, like we've lost more than we know, and that's unfortunately true because some cultures didn't value like writing systems, and they therefore didn't have writing systems. Everything was passed down orally and by memory and whatnot. And unfortunately, that's because of that case, people have forgotten that things have been destroyed, taken away, and or fucking just like you said, forgotten and left in like to the past of history. Like perfect. I was reading about that the other day. Actually, it's funny you bring this up. The tomb of Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Today, to this day, we have no fucking idea where it is. They have some like very, very strong indications where they think it may have been at one point in time. But historically, it used to be a major tourist attraction wherever it was located. Like the Roman emperors would come and loot it for fucking campaigns and shit like that. I think one of the Roman emperors snapped off his mummified nose because he got too close to it. So wow. It used to be like a popular tourist attraction. And then due to disrepair, neglect, or whatever the fuck else, like war and Christ knows what, like whatever the hell else happened, it was lost in time. And to this day, we're still trying to figure out where it is.
See, and that's the thing. Like, because for example, obviously there's proof in history that this man was real. But on the flip side of things, the other like quote unquote legends, like King Arthur and stuff, motherfuckers is out here like, yo, was this guy real? Was he not real? And then it's like, it's folklore, it's this, that, and it's stupid because
yes,
point,
all the
like,
above.
It's like, to your point though, it's like, man, what they have in the place where the sword with the stone and this, that, I'm just like, all right, bro, like that's it just makes you think like how it kind of makes you like smile as far as like the amount of extras or like thing that they put onto the story, you know what I mean? Like to make it more interesting or to make history more romanticized,
Well, in the case of King Arthur, they don't know. Like it's still like unaware. Like it may have been like, so there was a lot of mythologizing like kings back then because people thought kings were gods and whatnot too. The best at act, like I've heard a lot of different interpretations specifically surrounding King Arthur, right? For this specific point here. There's been a lot of speculation again, like who it was, where Camelot was, if it was an actual real thing, blah, 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 blah. But because like there's been so many people writing about it and like fan fictioning basically about it for centuries, the myth has grown to like different proportions. Now it's still like people are like, it's like a tour. You can make money off of like saying, oh, this is the actual location, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Because it's hard to prove that historically because we don't fucking know if he actually existed or not, or any capacity of what it is. Definitely not like the shining knights in shining armor fucking good Christian soldiers and everything like that. No, they would have been like barbarian, like warlords looking more like fucking this than anything else. Like
Straight up.
but
Almost resembling like the Viking, not Vikings, but you know what I mean, like as far as
that look,
what
that
they were
look.
Okay.
There's one book I have. I've read part of it. I haven't read the whole thing of it, but they're basically making the case that King Arthur was a Sarmatian, was like a Mongol, basically, like of that variety, like a warlord horse chieftain that came over here for a bit, because they pointed to like some evidence they found like in Roman, like in parts of London, they found like Egyptian like uh gold and like Egyptian like statues of Ra and stuff that dated back to like the Roman times and whatnot. So like there was a lot of, like I said, there was a lot of trade and stuff going on internationally still at that point. I haven't read the whole theory on it though, but that's what they're trying to push, is that he was like some like Far Eastern like horse lord basically of some descent. But that's one theory. If you've watched King Arthur, the movie that came out in 2004 with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley and shit like that. That's sort of like that's sort of along the same lines as what they're pushing. Like he was there's Sarmatians. The Sarmatians were like horse lords as well, like a nomadic tribe that fought on horseback and whatnot like that. They got co-opted into the Roman army, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of along the same lines with that sort of idea with that. But I guess I haven't read the full book yet.
No, but that's that type.
It's just there's so many different like possibilities, interpretations, theories. It's mind-boggling, but it's all like the literature surrounding it, like not so much like the like scientific like historical like literature around it, but like the like some of like the old literature, like where they write about the stories of King Arthur and stuff like that. Those are still fucking amazing to read. Like it's just like the characters and the stories, you know what I mean? Like it's just that part alone is what makes it like cool. Like the king that's supposed to come again when they really need him, sort of thing. You know, like it's crazy.
But that's why I think that they did romanticize those types of tales and those types of like legends and stuff, because if they were to try to pass along the same truths that were like, or pass along like the real truths, as far as like if he was a barbarian out here slaughtering everybody and this, that, and third, but they wanted to romanticize him, and he had pale skin and green eyes and blah, blah, as far as just trying to act like, or he had, you know, just whatever, like how you want to romanticize him. That's the type of shit that's gonna have his legend or story be told. Or even like Alexander the Great, he had an army of 3,000 men and killed armies of 50,000 men every time. Like just as far as like to romanticize, but let's just say he actually had like an equal amount of men as the people he was fighting. I'm just saying shit's real, bro. But once you romanticize.
And even with Alexander the Great, there's another book I have over there. That's basically the running theory is that he was an alcoholic. That was why he got like towards the end, why he went all like megalomania and crazy, because of like the Macedonian drinking culture and whatnot. And apparently that was like the theory that John Maxwell O'Brien's pushing, is that he died from alcohol poisoning from like drinking too much. Basically, that's why he died and whatnot. So I don't know. There's a lot of weird things, like a lot of different theories. Like not all of them are correct, but we'll never fucking really know because none of us were around at that time.
No, for real. At this point, like within anything in history, I mean, other than if there is genuine, like, and it sucks as like to say like, oh, genuine, like documents, genuine, like footage, genuine video, whatever. You kind of have to just take it with a grain of salt, unfortunately. Like there are obviously truths we want to believe, but it's so, especially in 2021, man, it's so hard to like grasp the idea of something as like just a whole truth. There's no type of there's no type of like run around within this, whether it's a story, a fable, you know what I mean? What, like, well, fable, you know, it's like a fake story, but you know what I mean? Like a legend or some type of, oh, this historically happened or based on true events. And then next thing you know, you find out it wasn't even based on true events. You're just like, no, what the fuck?
So The one thing I have to say about like that, the only thing I will say in the positive towards that is something that I actually saw at the end of the King Arthur documentary. It was Richard Harris. He was saying this. The one thing we all like, regardless if it's like it was a true story, the one thing we need to know, like he was a hero, like, and that's what it is. Like we need heroes to look up to and whatnot, and that's basically what he left us with. And these are the stories we tell. Basically, it helps us move on with some bit of hope and like whatnot, and bring some optimism to your life. This is what they're good. This is the useful part of that. It can be weaponized like any good thing, unfortunately, when it comes to people in power. But that is something these stories and fables and whatever else, these legends can be used like in the good and to show some optimism and hope some people. But at the same time, it can be used just as for the complete opposite purposes too, right? To control people, to do this and that too. So like any good thing, it cuts both ways.
Yeah, man. That's the I feel like that's the reality that we face. Like within anything, we choose the like our choice of a belief, us full-heartedly putting like us making our decision or our choice full-heartedly and just more or less living with the consequences. That's whether it's a matter of believing something, whether it's a matter of stepping up to the plate and being willing to accept responsibility, whether it's like all these different things that we might face in our young lives and as we get older, man, like that from history down to like what our parents tell us. It's like we have to either choose to, all right, man, I'm going to full-heartedly choose to accept this, whether it's belief or hey, let me try to do a little bit of my own searching or whatever. You know what I mean? And we live with our choices and we make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not out here hurting people or trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, or trying to corrupt people's minds or whatever, or you know what I mean? Like, at that point, your experience is your own, right? 7.8 billion people on this motherfucking planet. We might all watch a soccer game and everybody fucking experiences it differently. I guess that's what's kind of dope about life, right?
We're all one consciousness experiencing ourselves subjectively. Like Bill Hicks said.
Facts. That's
And
what it is.
I truly believe that in some regards, like people can be on the same wavelength and think the same and all that. And I think it's just because we all share the same collective consciousness, but we just like we come through it or like we experience it all like individually and through our own particular lens. And that's how it is. And that's just how life goes, unfortunately, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said unfortunately. I'm fucking baked.
No, but that's the thing. It's you're right. It can be fortunate, but it could be unfortunate because again, we both can experience the same thing. And you got some traumatized situation from it, and I got like a good ass experience from it. So that
exactly.
If I guess you can say unfortunately or fortunately, like yeah.
Mm-hmm. Life. That's about it.
We do our best to it's like we do our best to make the right choices and do things that are hopefully beneficial to us and others. But fuck, man, sometimes
we just do our best to hang on, man. For those who love us and those who want to see us do good, we just try to hang on the best we can day to day.
Yeah.
And some days we're like fucking like running through life. It's like everything's great. And there's other days where we're just barely grasping it like fucking two fingers. Like,
yeah, man. That's that shit, man. I watched the Suicide Squad, the movie the other day, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was wild. But beyond that,
the new one or the old one?
No, like the newer one and shit, bro.
Okay,
like,
okay.
But it was wild because like, and not about ruining the movie, but I'm saying like as you were using the example of the two fingers holding on, yeah, bro, that shit is a common theme throughout that motherfucker, bro. Like people just holding on by a thread, but something coming in the nick of time type shit to assist, or whether it's you yourself get that a little bit more strength, you can pull your other hand up and pull yourself up by both hands. You're not at the point of only hanging on with two fingers. Yo, bro, that's something that everyone experiences, and I hope that anyone listening out there, they can find the strength to pull themselves up by the two fingers and not let go, keep
and there's no problem for us. There's no like shame in asking for help if you need the extra help. Like fuck, there's nothing but like we're all trying to see each other get good. Like for the most part, we're all trying to see everyone like come to the same conclusion, like have a fucking safe house, like be happy and healthy. That's all anyone should want for anybody else. And especially your friends, loved ones, and even people you don't even fucking know, but still.
Yeah, man. Strangers or not, you got to be out here trying to be safe and demonstrating love. Don't be out here leading with hate, bro. That ain't gonna help nobody. But yo, my boy Trent, we out here, bro. Like this is, if it's cool, we can wrap that bitch. It's another episode of Ultra Fly Talk. My name's Grim.
I'm Trent,
and we in this bitch, bro. Yo, it's another episode.
Oh, made it.